Hello and welcome to another Let's Interview. I'm, of course, your host, Bren Tenkage, and as you can see by the avatar, we are joined by...
Proto. That's what I'm supposed to come in, right?
Yes, that is when you're supposed to come in.
Okay.
No,
I made it.
No, it's funny. Proto Mario. What is up with that name?
I made the name because I do not like names with underscores, X's, or numbers in them.
Oh.
It's a pet peeve of mine. So I wanted to be called Mario. That name was taken.
Obviously.
This was back in the day when you couldn't choose multiple names. Like on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
There was a point in time where you literally had to that was your name. Whatever you chose was your name, and you better choose something good.
And because all the good, memorable names have always been taken.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But that just sort of stuck. Proto Mario. It's such a weird concept. How'd you come up with that?
At the time, I was watching some Mega Man. I was unpacking from getting back from the military, and I wanted to create a YouTube channel, and I wanted to show off the things that I had done with gaming, and it was just a hobby. It was just a side thing. I had no idea that it would lead to something much bigger.
Yeah.
So I like Protoman. He's Maverick. He's the first Maverick. And he's a Maverick to the point where he doesn't recklessly do everything that he does. He does everything for himself. You know, he's very anti-establishment, shall we put it. You know what I mean? Like he'll help sometimes, and then he'll hinder if it's in his favor. So,
well, to be honest, I don't know as much about the Mega Man series. Although the Mega Man NT series, on the other hand, I do enjoy. But that Proto Man is obviously a lot more different from.
Yeah, he's way different.
He's more like, I'm so cool. I just stand around and I slice people.
Yeah.
Although, let's face it, when you have a sword for an arm,
right?
That is pretty cool. Though, I'm now trying to imagine Proto Man doing normal things, like trying to cook, and he's just trying to hold a frying pan with a sword.
Eating a sandwich would be difficult.
Oh, he just uses the sword to spread the mayo.
Typing on a computer.
It practically writes itself.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, but what you're well known for is not Mega Man, not Mario, but Pokemon.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
I'm good at what I do, man.
Yeah, what made you actually want to go into like the whole Theorizor sort of genre?
Believe it or not, I didn't copy Game Theorist. I know a lot of people think I did. I saw his work and they think, oh, he must have jumped on the theory train. Well, really what it was is that there was a lot of questions back in the day, just ridiculous stuff that was never answered. Like why was Charizard not a dragon type? Okay.
Or for that matter, why did Charmeleon attack Ash when he was a Charmander? Ash literally saved his life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So there were unanswered questions, and I wanted the answers. I wanted the answers I wanted to be something more than what you have online with these weird fan stories. Like there's some good fan stories. Don't get me wrong. There's some real good writers out there who aren't published, and they write, and the same with artists. Okay, cool. All right. I'm not... I'm not saying every single artist is garbage or anything, but then there's
some artists definitely are underappreciated.
Yeah, man. There's some artists who are like, yeah, then Ash Ketchum threw his Pokeball and Optimus Prime pops out, and then they jump on a pterodactyl, fly around, and blow up the universe, and it's like that's not really
okay. Now that was actually animated really well. That would be so surreal.
Right, but it's so out there that it's ridiculous, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to bridge the gap between a potential possible solution on why this happens within using
Hmm.
real-world logic somewhat.
Interesting.
You have to keep it realistic. You have to keep it believable within the game's rules and logic. Otherwise, you could just make up anything.
Yeah. I mean, you have to keep it within some logic. Otherwise, you could just say, Arceus did it! Oh, wait, no,
Yeah,
that was
and
Generation 1. Mew
basically,
did it?
basically what a lot of people used to say to explain away things like why Gyarados isn't a dragon type, they would just say, oh, because the developer, it was Generation 1 and the developers were bad at developing, so they didn't know anything. And it's like, what kind of half-assed excuse is that, man? Like,
I mean,
come on, that took you 5 seconds to figure out,
I
really?
mean, if I were to make a thought on that, well, the developers didn't want access to dragon types so easily. Because
Yeah, right?
legendary.
So,
while
yeah,
technically
when
it
you,
should be a dragon, it isn't for game balance.
right, and when you have your answer now, and it sounds way better than, oh, the developers just, it was the first game, they didn't know, and it sounds way better than that.
Yeah, or at the very least, there's some, you can see the logic behind it. You don't have to
Right.
agree with it, but it's like, well, that's a lot more logical than them being lazy. Although,
Mhm.
admittingly, Gyarados being a flying type is pretty weird. I mean, pure water, sure, but flying? Admittingly,
It stems
though,
from
seeing a flying Gyarados would be the most terrifying thing.
it stems from the legend that a Magikarp swam upstream and
It turns into the Chinese legend.
yeah, right, and then somehow it got cursed because it disobeyed the gods or something, and they took away its dragon status and instead made it a flying type because it was flying, like not really flying, but like, swimming upstream up a waterfall, kind of flying, kind
Eh.
of. So I guess that's where that stems from, and then maybe they just added flying type for a dual electric weakness because it was a really, really powerful Pokemon to
Not in
get
Generation
at level
1.
20.
Everybody knew the most powerful Pokemon was Persian. Goddamn speed slasher.
Right?
Yeah, I swear, I'm not even joking. On the playground, this one kid figured out how that worked, and he just had a team of nothing but, like, speed slashers. Like, 3 Persians. We couldn't stop them.
Well, that's why things are different nowadays. That's why they change things around quite a bit.
Oh, man. What's your favorite theory? Like, the favorite Pokemon theory you think is the most true or just most interesting?
The most true, I'm not sure. There's plenty that I've proven to be true just with subjective evidence, like you could take any number of them and say, I mean, is this possible, and then check it and say, yeah, it is. I think proving that people used to breed and marry Pokemon, proving that without doubt is probably the best one. I'm not a furry.
No.
Not
It's just
interested in that.
when the game itself actually starts to allude to that, and we also have Pokemon that are classified as the human-like.
Yeah,
You
the
start to raise
human
a few
shape.
eyebrows.
Right, and it's insane when you figure out that it's when people die in the game, they get reincarnated as ghost Pokemon or different types of Pokemon, and then those Pokemon eventually evolve back into humans, and it's just one massive circle.
Yeah, speaking of which, when we get to the next generations of Pokemon Go, and I swear there's a bunch of Yamasks and Phantups near graveyards, that's going to be extra creepy.
Yeah, it probably will.
And then suddenly I'm also imagining that episode of Pokemon Rusty, where Rusty captures his grandpa's ghost.
Creepy.
Oh, man. I think one of my favorite theories is that Dittos are failed Mew clones.
Yeah, that's a fairly true one as well. I mean, it's all but confirmed.
Yeah.
It's all but confirmed that they are.
Though I think one of the most annoying theories is Ash has been in a coma this whole time. One. Okay, maybe in the first season I could buy, but then when they have to keep adding on to it, that's when it just spirals out of control.
I mean, even if he was, it's still, like, after you hear it, it's like, wow, that's something. But then, like, after you hear it the 50th time, it's like, yeah, I get it. I'm good. I'm cool, man.
Yeah. Although, Ash never aging still is quite a mystery.
I mean, you know, there's a lot of theories about that too. Like, you know, maybe he saw Ho-Oh or something, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
because of him seeing Ho-Oh, you know.
He's granted
eternal happiness. Yeah.
Yeah, but the question is, the thing is that if he gets eternal happiness, why isn't he winning the Pokemon League?
Maybe that wouldn't make him happy. I mean, I know how insane that is, but, like, if he won the league and he was forced to stay there for some reason, that might co-opt his happiness. I'm just spitballing here because basically the writers are pretty bad at transitioning and explaining why he doesn't age, so, you know.
We pretty much know that out of the whole series, it's, you know, so the kids can relate, but if you ask me, what they should have done is done the way how the Pokemon manga does it, where each generation follows a different protagonist who can interact with the other ones.
Yeah, that'd been a lot better, but they didn't want to risk Pikachu and Ash. What are you gonna do though? What are you gonna do though?
What?
You know, what are you gonna do though? I mean,
I just sit back and enjoy the series.
Well, you know, you have a character. And anime is very competitive in Japan, and Pokemon is, like, it's serious in Japan. It's serious across the world. Like, if you switched up the protagonist and it failed, like, I mean, everyone would lose their job.
You're not just going to stumble and be like, okay, it was an off-season. You're going to face plant.
Yeah, and it would be real bad, man. Everyone would be fired.
It's a catch-22.
So I'm sure that's why they don't do it, because they're too afraid to.
Although
I'm almost positive.
Serena along. I liked her.
Serena.
I like Serena.
Yeah, I've gotten used to the fact that every single character that Ash encounters and travels with is gone.
Yeah, but Serena and him had actually something.
People said the same thing about Dawn. People said the same thing about May. Misty, they're all gone.
Although I did like Bonnie. Actually, as far as little kids' characters goes, I think Bonnie was one of the best. Especially when she had that Tyrantrum. I'm like, why did they let her keep it? That would have been awesome!
Right?
Little girl riding on a giant T-Rex. That is the most adorable thing. Think of the toys they could have sold.
What I dislike the most is that they continuously, over and over again, play out the same things in the anime. And I understand that, you know, you get to the point where you can't do anything new. It's a children's show. You have to play it very safe. But, I mean, like, dude, every time they meet a legendary Pokemon or some unique Pokemon, and it's like, oh, we can't catch it, it's a baby, it needs to be with us, and it needs to be protected. It's like for Christ's sakes, you know, you're just basically setting up Team Rocket to be able to steal this thing real easy. Then you're going to have something happen to where it has to return to its mother, or it's going to end up saving the world, and then it's going to disappear. Everyone's going to feel bad and cry.
And
that's all it is.
There's always the moment where Pikachu gets owned near the beginning, despite the fact it should be a level 100 by now.
Yeah, that's not going to ever end.
Yeah, that one, okay. I was willing to sort of buy it in black and white because it interacted with Zekrom and that could have screwed with him, but Okay, no electricity, fine. A freaking Iron Tail would have at least knocked the Snivy out.
I don't have anything. I don't.
Admittedly, though, the new art style has grown on me. I like the sort of cartoonish style. A little jarring at first, but I could see it working. And the fact that Team Rocket is a Mimikyu is, And of course, James getting a Pokemon that will always hurt him. That is one thing I will always enjoy.
That's another trope that continuously returns.
Though admittedly, that one is funny.
I mean, it's obviously for comic relief, but that's the thing. They always play it too safe, man. That's the thing. I mean, my God, man. You know, Team Rocket's still going almost 20 years down the road. Like, can we get some real villains here? Can they not be one-offs? Can they not be Team Rocket and
can we get
following Ash around?
And less annoyance. I think Paul was one of the best rivals.
Yeah, can we get a serious trainer? You know, rivals in that world probably aren't going to give high fives and thumbs up and hugs. They're probably going to talk a lot of shit.
Yeah, or at the very least, maybe fist bump you and say, I'll get you next time. But they're not going to be too friendly.
They're going to be pretty shitty to you.
Occasionally, but yeah, Paul was definitely the best rival. Yeah.
So what else, man? What else do you want to know?
That should be a Pokemon What If. What if Paul continued to be Ash's rival?
Well, I'm fairly certain he would continue to be a pretty big a-hole to Ash. And that would be it. He's like Gary. He's just like Gary.
Except, and so actually, I think he was a lot better than Gary, because Gary was just a stuck-up brat, and pretty much we didn't even see how well he was. Paul at least backed up his claims. He at least did back it up. And he was like the anti-Ash.
He was.
Actually, there's another what if. What if Gary wasn't such a douchebag?
I don't know. I would have to think about it.
Get on that video. Wow. And yes, you also do what if videos.
That I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, those are also pretty good. Although I admit that was funny, the one with what if Ash didn't trade back the Raticate, and then he basically has a kid and it's Joey.
Right.
You know what? I could actually buy that one.
That would be really funny.
That would be the best plot twist ever.
I wish Nintendo would look into doing things more with stuff like that, revisiting old topics like I do on my channel.
Yeah, it would actually be pretty nice for at least a couple of episodes focusing on more side characters. Similar to what the Pokemon Chronicles did. I mean, yeah,
just
one-offs weren't known, but what about some of the gym leaders?
What they end up doing is they always introduce these new characters, all right? You know, they had the character, the Gentleman, okay? And he was the main part of that St. Anne episode, okay?
Yeah.
And they have him with Eradicate, and they have him battle, and cool, we have a character, an older gentleman. Obviously, he has a woman with him. He's a skilled trainer.
As well as, obviously, Luffy.
Gone the next episode, never to see him again, makes a cameo in one episode later, and that's it.
So he actually survived. Huh.
Yeah, he somehow escaped, right? But wouldn't you have liked to have known how? Wouldn't you have liked to have seen how that story played out? I sure would have. Guess what?
How awesome would it be if he ended up on an island and had to go all Green Arrow on someone?
It would be cool to see a lot of these characters flesh out more than just one episode. I mean, they're beyond one-dimensional.
What happened to that one guy with the sand shrew that could go into the water?
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. He's
What about
gone.
that one bug catcher samurai? I wonder if he
He's
got
gone,
arrested for pointing a sword at the wrong person.
Do you remember? Do you remember in all of those episodes? At the end of the episode, Ash wants to meet these trainers again, and pretty much never does. They only make small cameos, if that.
Yeah.
Like you have these developed characters. They're very well developed. Why don't you introduce them in several episodes? Why do you make them a one-dimensional trope object that is going to progress the episode, and then once you're done with them, you throw them away? Why?
Yeah.
Why not have 2 to 3 episodes fleshing out their characters and explaining things and having a bit more depth to them? No.
Yeah, I mean, at least in the first season, you could somewhat forgive it, but after that, it's a lot less forgivable.
It makes me literally not care about what happens to them. If the samurai was stabbed by a beedrill and died on the spot, I wouldn't care because I'd never see him again anyways.
Exactly.
I don't know anything about his past. I don't know anything about his future because the writers never gave it to me. So what would it matter if he got killed off? I don't even care if they survive. The people who are going to survive is obviously Ash. That's who's going to make it out. Ash and Misty.
And Team
It's
Rocket
gonna
because they
happen.
got their mauve shirts.
And that kills the tension of every single episode. If look, let's just assume for 1 second you're a person who's never seen a single episode of Pokemon and is starting off on the newest season, and you're a kid. In later years, you grow up and you say, hey, I'd like to see the previous anime. Now you start watching the first season. Every single bit of tension with every episode, every bit is gone now because you know Ash, Misty, Team Rocket, and Meowth, Brock, those characters, they always make it through. So that Saint Anne episode, there's no tension there. Who gives a shit if it sinks? They're going to make it through anyways because you know they're going to make it through. So it's really crappy when they throw away these characters and they keep these other characters. It's just the main character trope all over again. The main characters never die.
See, and that's why maybe doing a change of character each season would have been the better option.
Yeah, that'd been sweet. In the first season, Ash marries Misty. They fall in love. He wins the league. Congratulations.
And now
the
we
next
focus
season,
on the gold analog and
yeah.
Johto.
And instead of Ash being in the Orange Islands, it could have been Richie in the Orange Islands.
Actually, that would have been cool. A spin-off
Would
of
have been
Richie.
perfect. Would have been perfect because he has a Pikachu.
Yeah, you still have the icon. You could have still tested the water with the whole let's try a new protagonist. You still got the icon because he's close enough to Ash. And then if it was popular enough, then say, okay, let's try a new character in gold. And he could still have his Pokemon on the shoulder. And then work from there.
And you could have had Gold and Crystal coming together as a pair going through the Johto region. And then you could have had Brendan and May in
Exactly,
the
and so on and so forth.
own region. Yeah,
heck,
and it would just
that would
then
also
you
have led more opportunities for episodes where the previous character can come in and help. Like, I don't know, like with the Team Rocket attack, because it's 3 years later in Gold, Ash is investigating. Because since he's gotten better, maybe he's part of the police department or some sort of, I don't know, you know, you could have them work together. It'd be cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how how the show is nowadays.
Oh, in another timeline, they did that. And then the manga would have been the bad one.
Yeah. Yeah, the manga's on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
It's something else, man.
And Pokemon Generations, that was good.
Yeah, I like that. I think that was way better, and I think a lot of people really like that, too.
My only complaint is that each episode was way too short. It's just, when it's over, it's like, I had a great piece of cake, but I want more.
Nope. It's just...
Although...
People respond well on YouTube. You see the views. Millions. Tons of likes. Everyone loved the series. What do? Do they continue it? No. Instead, you know, they put out another series. tons of likes, tons of views, but very, very short videos. People are clamoring for more. Make an entire season. Make dedicated episodes of what happened in the games.
Yeah,
big
or
events,
at the very least,
do it.
Do Origins Gold and Silver.
So what do? Nothing yet. They just put out that series of very short episodes, and I literally cannot see them doing a full season, 20-minute episodes of Kanto, Johto, the games like that. I just don't see them doing it. I don't think they will.
We can only hope, because that animation studio made everything look so awesome.
Yeah, I like that animation a lot more than anything else.
Yeah. Other what ifs. What if Ash never released Butterfree?
Right. I don't know, man.
Well, a couple of situations might have gone easier with Sleep Powder and Stun Spore.
Yeah, they probably would have.
Yeah.
I don't
think... like those Executors. Yeah, like all those Executors. Put them to sleep or Stun Spore them. They're not gonna.
Well, the thing is, man, every single time you present these questions, you also have to keep in mind that Ash is an idiot, and 90% of the time, he's gonna use that Butterfree against someone that has like its weakness.
Yeah, it's even near the end. He's just like, Ash, why are you being an idiot? At least in Generation 1, he was still learning, so you could argue that it's still a learning experience. But when he does it later seasons, it's like, Ash, I'm sorry, are you pants on head retarded?
Right.
I guess maybe you were right, and Brock and Misty were holding him back to save himself, most likely.
I really think they were. Like, even though Ash is pretty dumb, I think there were many times where they tried to guide him, and even if it's morally correct to not catch a sick Pokemon or to not catch this Pokemon for whatever reason, no. Do you think any other trainers thinking that stuff? Most of the time, you'll see trainers with wild, crazy Pokemon. Ash has to befriend 99% of his Pokemon before he captures them. What happened to Caterpie? He wasn't Caterpie's best friend. He wasn't Caterpie's best. He threw that Pokeball. He caught that Pokemon. Same with Pidgeotto. What happened with Pidgeotto? He battles Pidgeotto. He catches him. Why? Why?
You gotta be at least consistent.
I know, it's ridiculous. It's like, oh, I can't catch this Pokemon. It's a sick Pokemon. Why don't you catch it and take it to the Pokemon Center? Now you've got a cool Pokemon, and it's not sick anymore. Or if you really feel
bad about taking it out of the wild, catch it, heal it, let it go, say, sorry for catching you, just wanted to help you, bye. Yeah. And then maybe the Pokemon be like, no, I actually want to stay with you because you're actually nice. That could have worked.
But they have to set up situations in the anime where almost every single episode, Ash has a Pokemon outside of a Pokeball. Team Rocket come up, they capture the Pokemon, and Ash has to say, "Oh, don't you capture that Pokemon, Team Rocket."
Sounds like I want to see that in like a flash, like sort of a Rick and Morty style flash.
Yeah.
Don't catch that Pokemon, Team Rocket. I'm gonna catch it. Meow. That's.
And then that opens up the question too. That also opens up the question too. Was Team Rocket, understandably, when they try and steal a Pokemon, a literal Pokemon that belongs to someone, okay, you're doing something wrong. But all the moments when they were trying to capture massive amounts of Pokemon, trying to capture a wounded Pokemon or something, were they really doing anything wrong? It's a wild Pokemon.
Yeah, is it illegal to catch a wild Pokemon? Okay, Safari Zone
it's not.
Is the only time when that would be illegal. Any time else, yeah, they're kind of in the right. Granted, their tactics for capturing are a bit morally questionable, like using nets, pits, and other weaponry rather than an actual Pokemon. Again, that's also questionable, especially with the ethics within Pokemon already.
Do you remember the Pokemon the first movie and where it's showing the power of Mewtwo?
Oh, how he's doing the whole hurricane?
No, a little bit earlier. All right, they're talking about Mewtwo being the ultimate Pokemon.
Oh, and they were using him to capture all those like wild Tauros and such.
Yeah, dude. The show had no problem showing that. What is Team Rocket doing something wrong there?
Well,
and it's like you're supposed to say, "Oh, that's not right," but why?
Well,
why?
I suppose the only reason one could come to that's wrong is they're tricking Mewtwo for their own needs, and I guess bolstering up a criminal organization. But other than that, if it was some like youngster Joey with a Master Ball who somehow got lucky with Mewtwo, like caught him while he was asleep, no, you wouldn't bat an eye. Well, you raise an eyebrow on how the hell a little kid is controlling this thing.
Right, but it's just it's there's a lot of plot holes. Like, oh my God, there are a lot of plot holes with the anime, and they never get answered. They never get answered because the plot holes are so ridiculous, because they never outline the world properly.
Yeah, like, how does the world work? How do trainers earn income? Like, is it like...
How did they get their first Pokemon? Because in the first episode, it says when you're 10 years old, you can get a license. Are you telling me every single trainer has a license in the world? How's this stuff work? Is it illegal to have a Pokemon if you're under the age of 10? Because I've seen kids with Pokemon that are like 5 years old. So, like, they never outline any type of rules. Ever.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, what me and my friends came up with is that the world of Pokemon is sort of centered around this, almost like how in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like gladiator fighting with the card game. So trainers earn money from the league organization after getting a license from either a Pokemon Center or actual professor, and you earn revenue by doing much better, being, better and bringing ad revenue, so to speak. Almost like a YouTube thing. But even then, that still has a few problems of other logistics, like, money, where does all the money come from, how does it all work, supplies. Yep. Really, the world of Pokemon, it's one of those things that you do have to keep a sense of disbelief.
You have to understand that there are certain rules, like gravity applies in that world, okay? But it's never outlined how much. It's never outlined if they can die from falling, because
or in fact how much damage a Pokemon can take before it goes from fainting to dead.
Yeah, right.
And same with humans, for that matter.
They never outline why there are guns in the world. And there are many guns.
When in fact a fire-breathing lizard, even in its first stage, would probably be more effective.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you have guns? Why are you?
I mean, the only guns I could see are tranquilizer guns for wild Pokemon who going on a rampage.
They have an army. There is an army in that world. Why do you have an army? What?
I mean,
what am I missing? What in the hell is going on in this world? Why is none of this explained?
And why are there multiple Nurse Jennies and Joys? Why do they all look the same?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest questions. Has Mewtwo been playing with the cloning machine?
Why does Officer Jenny just dick off all the time? You have Team Rocket multiple times.
And the other criminal organizations.
Yeah, and the other criminal organizations. Somehow these are big organizations with literal uniforms. People are walking around in literal uniforms. Look, the equivalent of this in our real world would be the police being in a town and a bunch of neo-Nazis with swastikas, legit swastikas, just walking around saying, "Hey, what's up, officer?"
And it's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing, Steve?
Where are the Nazis?" And the officer just being like, "Yeah, I'm gonna
stay out of
but
trouble,
never, ever
mister."
Like, Like there was
I guess
one
the only
episode
exception
where
is
they
Team
had a
Skull,
wanted poster.
but in universe they're a joke.
All the teams are a joke, man.
Although Team Skull at least is intentionally a joke, and you can actually enjoy their antics.
Yeah, they're pretty silly.
I mean, they were out harassing a street sign for Christ. They became the new Deadpool at cons. I love it.
Right?
Hey, speaking of which, you ever dressed up as Proto Mario at a con?
No, really, honestly, the only reason I keep the name is because I'm verified, and it's extremely arduous to change your name and then get verified again.
It's YouTube's policies, am I right?
Yeah, dated, very dated.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't make much money either because YouTube screws over the little guy, and if you aren't already big, it's hard to climb up.
Yeah, it really is, and I feel bad for people like that. I started off with a simple idea that I was going to do some gaming content, and it evolved into a serious job, to where I don't have to work a shitty factory job, man.
Yeah, you're actually doing what you love. But then when you have YouTube, people calling you, insulting over the internet, bots stealing your videos and your view count,
Yeah.
I feel for guys like you. I mean, I admit I'm jealous of some of your fame, but that's normal. But
I think everyone is. There are times where I'll look at someone who's bigger than me and I'll be jealous, but then I remember to myself that, like, for example, I would love to be like the Game Theorist. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to be the Game Theorist. I would like to have what he has. The thing is, I'm a one-man team, and the Game Theorist has an entire crew working for him.
And different people for different aspects of it.
He has different characters. He has people he works with, like that one video gamer or the completionist, right?
Gaijin Goomba and
and
those guys
all
from
these
Shoddy Cast.
all of these people come together, and he's linked in with YouTube too, to where he can talk to YouTube. He knows what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and it's like, if you want all of this fame, if you want what he has, you have to be willing to expand and do what he's going to do. Do you want to be a one-man team all of your life? Are you content with being the one who's making all of the decisions about every single thing that's happening on your channel? Then you better not expand, and you better not be jealous of bigger channels. Because if you get to that point where you want more, you're going to have to start hiring producers, editors, audio technicians, because there's going to be a point where people aren't going to subscribe to you anymore. They're going to want to see they're going to want to see you take it to the next level. And by next level, I don't mean a better mic. I mean, like, literally getting a studio and people employed working for you.
More production values. Basically, it's one of those things where you're when you're on your own, you got to reach a certain threshold where you can plateau and be content without going so overboard that people are going to want you to get better and then eventually crash down.
That's the key, man. You got to be content with yourself. You have to. You have to be happy with what you have and what you built. If you're not happy with it, I mean, you'll look at other people who are bigger than you, and you're always going to be like, they don't deserve that. I should be there. And it's like, is that really true? Is that really what you think? Is that really what you want? Or do you just wish you had what they had without any of the commitment?
That's good advice. That is actually really helpful advice for some people who want to get started or at least get a little bigger and know what's going on. It's helpful.
I mean, even if you look at someone like PewDiePie, a lot of people will sit there and say he's a one-man show, but, I mean, he's got his own studio. He's got tons of people that work with him, partners. He's got people that help him out around his house. He's got a woman. It's not like it's just him and a camera and that's all he does. He had to learn how to edit. He had to learn how to do these jump cuts. He had to learn how to get into trends and what video games were trending at the time. You know, so I mean, it's a rough world, man. It's a cutthroat world. You know.
Yeah, as a Let's Player, take it from me.
Yeah, man. Let's Plays are garbage nowadays. No one watches Let's Plays anymore, and it's very depressing to me because those are fun to do. They're very fun to do, but Twitch kind of.
Yeah, Twitch kind of killed the Let's Plays, and Game Grumps did the rest to bury the corpse.
Oh my God, Game Grumps, man.
It started going downhill after John left.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people dislike them a lot now.
It's mostly now Aaron. I mean,
yeah, a lot of people look like every single person I've talked to about it say they don't like Aaron at all.
Yeah,
I don't watch.
And Ross, they got a bit of a good thing going with their Steam train and all that, but especially when they do a Sierra game,
right? You know, they're cool. They're cool. They do their own thing. Cool, man. Hey, thumbs up from me.
But Aaron is an example of what you do, what not to do when you get a lot of fame. Don't be a douche.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't watch him, so I don't know. But a long time ago, I personally didn't like it that much. I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm more of I'll play the game myself. You know what I'm saying?
Don't worry. Me, I just do Let's Plays mostly for fun, even if I don't get that much money. I'm autistic, I live on my own, I have government checks. This is mostly just to kill time and keep my sanity up. That didn't show that I could survive a Nuzlocke run, which I caught 2 shiny Pokemon in, legitimately. Like, some people go their entire thing, build entire channels around shiny hunting, and then I just luck into them twice! And it was only on a ROM!
That's cool, man. I mean, it's not cool that you can't pull them off the ROM.
I know, but it's just every time I get a shiny, it's always on a ROM, never in a regular game. It's funny.
I've gotten a lot of shinies, man. A lot of shinies. I'm nothing special, man. I'm not autistic. I'm not retarded. I don't have any crazy mental condition. The only thing I've ever had to deal with is PTSD from the military, and that it's a crutch. But you know,
you can you can get over time
it.
in therapy. It can help.
Yeah, you get over it.
I empathize.
But everyone looks at me like I'm some kind of god for figuring this stuff out. Like, what's my edge, man? What's my secret? What's the card up my sleeve? There's no secret.
A really cool avatar?
I literally just look up information. Someone will present me with a question, like the what if Ash never got rid of Butterfree? Okay, well, what would the major battles be like that he would encounter post the release? So what would be the biggest battles that he would actually use Butterfree with? And then you go through the episodes, you try to remember, and you look up the episodes where he had massive battles, and you think to yourself, now, would he use Butterfree here, and would it change that around?
Exactly.
And how would it change it?
Exactly. Oh my
God.
But
a lot of people say, oh my God, I couldn't do what you do. And okay, so be it. You can't do what I could do. Fine, that's cool. But, you know, I had to learn it all the same like everyone else on YouTube. Learn how to do things, learn how to edit.
Yeah.
Just same as everyone else.
I just had a realization. Sabrina had basically her own psychic army and basically had the entire town terrified. We never get... I mean, what happens after Ash leaves? Like...
Well, see, they made everything better, and Ash was super happy, and Sabrina was super happy, and no one's ever going to resent her.
Somehow. I guess technically he did, because Hunter was working for him. It wasn't a matter of, oh, I just gave you this badge because he did something good.
Look, I don't care what you say. Those bullshit badges he earned are bullshit, man. Half the time he didn't even battle.
Yeah, let's see. The times he actually earned them. Okay, he legitimately earned it from Koga.
I think there's only 3 times.
Yeah.
I've gone through this before.
Surge, Koga, and Blaine.
Yep.
Which, by the way, that was like one of the best battles.
Yep. It was all right. Which would have been sweet for the other gym leaders.
How crazy you have to be to fight on top of a volcano? Okay, Blaine, I get it. You're the fire gym leader, but this is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
That's my point, man. Ash is a 10-year-old fucking kid walking around the world. Why the fuck does this world not have any rules or restrictions? This is some fucking crazy shit. What if Blaine grabbed him?
It just takes one pedophile of a psychic Pokemon.
Yeah, man.
Heck, we have a pedophile psychic Pokemon.
It's really bad. It's a really bad idea. That's why I think the animators and the creators had this idea that this world's gonna be perfect. There's not gonna be any murder. There's not gonna be any molestation. There's not gonna be any crazy shit going on. But we're gonna have monsters that are capable of destroying the world and 10-year-olds controlling them, walking around the world. Also terrorism. You know, also theft. Also team organizations dedicated on enslaving these monsters. You know, like this world's crazy.
Seriously,
the world's crazy.
Just on it. Yeah, when I was a kid, I'm like, I want to live in this world. As an adult, I'm like, I stopped realizing that the moment I realized these Zubats are really huge, and their main move is sucking the life out of someone, and you get swarmed by them the moment you enter a cave. Yep. Nope.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people, they look at the series and they're like, yeah, this is all perfectly fine, and then they start to ask the questions. They're like, well, wait a minute, that guy was getting attacked. I thought Pokemon didn't do that, and it's like, yeah, I guess they do that.
And yet we still survive. What is up with the humans?
I don't fucking know. Oh my god, there's so many plot holes, man.
How does... Yeah.
You could watch every theory I have. You could watch every one back to back, and it still wouldn't fill every plot hole there is.
Yeah. It's crazy. But, you know, despite all the problems, we still love Pokemon. It's still something that you can enjoy despite all the problems, right?
Yeah, I enjoy the series for what it is now. Yeah. That's about it. I mean, I have my wishes, I have my desires, but if I want a Generation 1 game, I'll go back and play a Gen 1 game.
Yeah.
You know, I don't demand these things get changed. I don't start petitions online. If I want to see something answered, I go out and I get the answer. And that's what I think a lot of people should do. I don't think a lot of people should hate the series for what it is. I think a lot of people should take it for what it is. Say, I don't really like this aspect, but it's all right, and then fill in the blanks themselves.
Yeah. Or, better yet, if you don't like it, don't watch it.
Yep, there's plenty of other anime out there, that's for sure.
Like Monster Rancher.
Monster Rancher, Digimon.
Metabots. Oh,
yep,
man.
Metabots.
That was a missed opportunity. Yeah.
I watched that as a kid.
Yeah, that was a good anime, actually. Great GBA game, but
I watched
RPG.
them all, man. I watched them all.
Metabots!
I think, to be honest, I think Digimon was a better anime than Pokemon.
No, I'm with you on that one. While Pokemon had the most staying power and was more unrecognizable, Digimon had the far better story.
Yeah.
Despite the Han Saban dubbing, which had a lot more puns and jokes and censorship, but it was the 90s. It was par for the course.
Yep. That's true. I lived through the 90s.
Admittingly, though, I did like the fact that they used the Sultra to get rid of the Bakuman being Bakuman lose your power, Bakuman lose your power. I don't know why, that makes me laugh.
It's silly.
Or
because it's silly, man.
Frogs with the tubas in their neck.
Digimon basically did what Pokemon did, but I think it moved way too fast once it was outside of Season 1. I think what ended up happening is that instead of taking another group of kids and entering the digital world again and taking the same kind of Digimon layout that they had before, they tried to do something really strange, really different. And while Season 2 was decent, it was alright, and they had the Digital Emperor and that whole plot scheme and stuff like that, and ultimately it did play out pretty good. When it got to Season 3 and they changed it up even more, it was where it really started to fall off.
Actually, if you ask me, I think Season 3 Tamers is actually one of the better of the series. I think it's when they hit Frontier, when they turned into the Digimon that started to crash.
I don't think Season 3 is bad. I just think it started falling off.
Though, hey, at least we got Stephen Bloom. I think he was a director on that.
Yeah, I've watched seasons 1, 2, and 3, and I just think if they kept the whole aspect about, hey, this is my partner, we're gonna save the world together with me and my friends, then they would have been good. Because that's basically Pokemon. We're gonna get into situations where I'm going to need my partner and my friend's help. That's basically Pokemon every episode. With Digimon, it turned into, here's my partner, to, okay, I've got to find this golden egg to help my partner, to, I'm going to use these cards to power up my partner, to, I am my partner.
Yeah, that one was kind of weird. That one was definitely weird.
It's really, really not a good time.
Good opening, though. I will give it that. At least glad they changed up the opening, but that's about it. After that, I just pretty much, I don't know, I stopped watching.
I don't know how you screw up going in until you get your own personal monster that can become a giant dinosaur.
Oh, trust me. Let's face it, you could have the best idea in the world and still screw it up. I'm looking at you, Kawahara, and Sword Art Online. I'm looking at ya.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, that was such a train wreck.
That was so bad.
Log Horizon for life.
I can't, man. I don't even want to watch the rest of Sword Art. I watched all the way to Season 2, and I was just like,
yeah,
okay, this is horrible.
The first half was passable with a lot of problems. If you ask me, if they just focused on the Aincrad arc for the first episode, more episodes, maybe then they wouldn't have so many problems. But I think the real issue is Kawahara has no idea how gamers and games actually work.
Yeah, he doesn't. He does not. I don't understand it. It's just like he took the best idea in the world. He had some of the best animation. He had some of the best story, and he's like, you know what? We need more
harems. That's what the boys want.
We need a creepy guy who licks this chick's face.
Ugh.
Okay.
Yeah. That's another thing. Okay, I'm not going to say Asuna is the best female character, but you can at least say she was capable. She could actually hold her own in a fight, and then turn her into a damsel in distress. I wouldn't be so angry if at the very least they had more scenes of her trying to escape in different ways.
I mean, I don't even care about that if the guy just wasn't a fucking creep. Like it was bad. It was real bad. It was. Yeah,
I can't wait for the abridged series to get to that scene. I don't know how they're gonna do that.
Yeah, them weird
Something
monsters.
Witty entertainment.
Tentacles, them weird tentacle monsters. Remember them? That's what I'm talking about, dude. It really went too far. It was like, what the fuck, man?
And to quote Anime Sense, this is not an ecchi anime.
Yeah. I guess it was supposed to be an edgy anime. I guess it was
pretty
supposed to
much
be.
is.
Um,
Along with a harem anime, surprisingly.
I mean, I don't know which audience they were trying to write it for, because here in America, we're not down with the tentacle monsters. We're not down with men licking women's faces.
Hey, speak for yourself, man.
I mean,
nah, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I'm just.
I know. There's websites out there. I'm just saying it's not. It's just not.
The audience doesn't work quite as well. I mean, I get it's supposed to be for a gamer audience, but it doesn't really work. You want a better gaming anime? Log Horizon. First of all, the main characters aren't annoying twats. Second, the main character is not a stereotypical swordsman. He's a tactician. And third of all, the game actually you want to play. Like, seriously, the actual world they build is like, why isn't this a real game? It'd be the most awesome licensed video game. Actually, is Pokemon a licensed video game now?
No, because Pokemon and Game Freak work together, so I don't think Nintendo even has to buy the license from them. I think they have a deal worked out.
It's confusing, like,
If it was a license, I assure you it would be the second most expensive license to sell. I don't think anyone would be able to even afford it, because like, do you know how much money you'd have to offer Nintendo to make a game from Pokemon and then offer to Game Freak 2 at the same time? It would be like a ridiculous amount. I just don't see it.
Definitely. It's like, yeah, it's definitely Satoshi's baby.
Yep. So, any other questions, man?
Yeah, we went on sort of a ramble, so that
That's
seems
all
to
right.
happen, but hey, this is what these interviews are about. We shoot the shit, we get to know a little bit more about sort of the real you off of the camera. Like, is there any theories or videos you would want to change or you sort of regret doing?
I don't regret doing any of them, but I do think, like, the sexual aspects of the anime and the games, like where the trainers use the bathroom at, these are, again, things that are not answered. They're not answered. They do not even make barely a reference to them. But they do say things like, oh, you know, this trainer has to use this restroom right now. And they don't ever explain stuff like, you know, how do they replace their clothes if they don't even have a big backpack to carry extra clothes in?
Except Brock's and Clamont's bags of holding, apparently.
Right? And it's again, you have to suspend your disbelief, but I'm just trying to take some real-world aspects and turn them into an answer. It doesn't mean I'm obsessed with the sexuality
it's
of
just
a
one of
cartoon
those.
character.
Some days you'll talk about why did this event happen, or why does this happen, and then you go to something a little more, but
well, people ask for it. People ask for it over and over again. I get numerous comments, ridiculous comments about where do trainers use the restroom at? Can trainers have sex with Pokemon?
What's the most ridiculous comment you ever gotten?
I think I remember there's several ridiculous ones. I mean, they're out of the world, but I remember someone trying to say, like, hey, I think James is gay for Ash. And I was just like, I'm really not seeing it, dude. And he's like, no, it's there. Investigate it. And it's like, all right.
If anything, it's more like Brock is. I would be more inclined to say that Brock is more for that than James.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Besides Jesse and James, OTP. Or OTC.
I get asked a lot of weird questions. Like a lot.
Well, that's what you get when you're a theorizer.
Yep.
Yeah, I've talked to Loxton too. Yeah, he gets a couple of weird, crazy questions as well.
Another one was someone suggested that Mr. Mime was Ash's father.
You know, Loxton did a really
So-
great theory that it was actually Bruno.
I mean, I guess it could, but you don't. I've seen his video on it, but you don't see any other evidence other than Delia knowing about
So
Bruno's
if you ask me, I
location.
think
That's
his is
it.
the strongest. Everyone
I think-
else, there's just way too many problems.
I think basically what it was is that they wanted some comic relief at that time, and they wanted his mom to enter the scene and give that comic relief. Like, they, you know, where are we going to find Bruno at? I know where Bruno is. It's like, Mom, of all people, you know where Bruno is? Whoa! And then
Actually, I think it would have been
exit
funnier
scene.
if Professor Oak came in and said, it's like, Professor Oak, what were you doing there this whole time?
Yeah, I was outside the window, like,
I was waiting for you to leave so I could have a crack at the town mill.
Right, basically. And yeah, that...
Actually, you know
again-
what? There's a theory. Maybe that's why Professor Oak gave Ash the Pikachu. Just to send him off.
Right?
No. I mean, if that were the case, he would have already saved a Pokemon for him.
Right.
Yeah. Whatever happened to that Pokeball that Ash had? You know, the one with the lightning bolt on it that Pikachu was in?
Oh, it's never used again.
You think Professor Oak is like sweeping the lab one day and he notices behind the desk, this old Pokeball. Hey, the lightning bolt. And that means Ash doesn't have one. And then it cuts to Ash like, Pikachu, we actually have to return. And Pikachu's like, okay. And then like, it's not working. Wait, where's the Pokeball?
Yeah, I mean, he might as well not have even gotten a ball for him because he never uses it aside from the first episode.
Yeah.
But you
Anyway.
know, he could anytime Pikachu gets kidnapped and it's just floating up in Team Rocket's balloon, he could just pull that bull out and recall him instantly.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, why, whenever Team Rocket captures a Pokemon outside, in like a net or something, why doesn't the trainer just do that?
Because they're idiots. I'm sorry, they're not idiots. The writers have to progress the agenda of the episode.
Yeah.
Which is we gotta save our friends and everyone has to have a happy ending and done and done.
You definitely come off as someone who doesn't like the moral guardians.
I'm pretty neutral on the spectrum. I mean, there's an obvious right and wrong thing to do.
Okay, that's fair.
But, we're not talking about real life. If I'm watching a TV show, I really don't care what happens within the TV show. Those characters aren't real to me, so if they die or they live, it's not the end of the world. Good character development will make me care, but I'm not going to go to their funeral because they're not real.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want a good story, you obviously have to have a good villain. And if you want a really good villain, the villain has to be doing some really fucked up shit. So, like, if you look at Giovanni, he's the leader of the organization. He doesn't give a shit about 2-bit cheap-ass Pokemon that don't do shit. What he does is he manipulates people, he uses people, and he enslaves Pokemon. And he's pretty serious about it. He makes a really good villain. He makes a really good villain that you can hate. He's
Except for
shitty.
that one time when Team Rocket brought him Togepi, and he's just like, why did you bring me this? And he doesn't know the value of a Togepi.
I mean, realistically speaking, Togepi couldn't really do much.
Well,
So I guess
it was a never-before-seen Pokemon in the Kanto region. He could have at least,
I mean,
black market
I
it.
know, I know, but I guess like at that point in time, he probably didn't care because he had Mewtwo, so he was just like,
yeah, that actually is the probably the best answer. He probably knew the value of Togepi, but was like, I got Mewtwo. I now literally have everything in the palm of my hands.
yeah.
And then like an hour, like half a day later, ah!
Yep.
That's the other thing. Why didn't
Gone.
Mewtwo just like crush his head? That would have been funny. It's like, you are a slave to us. Oh, really? Crush.
Right.
He just starts up the speech, "You are a slave," or, for that matter, why didn't he read his mind?
That's, again, these plot holes. They just come
Then
up
again,
so often.
the first movie wasn't that good anyway. I mean, it's a classic, but yeah.
I think the first few movies are better than the rest of the movies. I don't think they're good. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But I think they're better because they actually push the letter a bit.
Yeah, I know. Especially with the third and with Entei and all that. That one was good. It was like, yeah. Anyway, it was great having you on board. And I'm glad you took some time out of your, busy schedule to come and speak to me.
Oh, yeah, man. I've got college. I'm going to college to become a minister. I work on YouTube. You know, I was working when you had emailed me. You know, I'm a father. I have a woman I have to be around and take care of as well. And I have to handle the bills. And this month coming up in June 1st, and the next month, this coming month, I will be moving into a new house. And I have vacation this weekend. And all of that at the same time. And I manage every day.
Whoa. That was as heavy as a Snorlax.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of people think like, wow, man, you're just a YouTuber. Why don't you go get a real job? It's like, man, these things, they're real jobs. We have real lives, you know?
Mm-hmm. Anyway, do you have anything you would like to say before we head off? And before you ask, link will be in the description. Go check them out.
It's cool, man. I really appreciate talking to my fans, and I appreciate talking to anyone else. If you want to talk to me, you can hit me up on Twitter. Other than that, that's about all I have to say. So,
right.
Thanks, Ben.
Well, as always, I'm Brenton Kage.
And I'm Proto Mario.
And we will see you next time. Take it easy. Bye.
There you go.